Hello everyone, welcome to Valley Homes on TV. I'm Todd Flesner, your co-host, along with Debbie Giordano.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, we're glad folks have joined us.
Yes.
And we're out and about around Milpitas. You never know where we're going to show up, right?
Right.
Yeah, we really enjoy bringing people more information about our community, where we live, and what makes this a great place to own property, raise a family, and some of the
Educate.
folks are important
Go to
in
school.
that process as well.
Right.
So, do you want to introduce our guests?
I would love to. Gentlemen I've known for quite a while. We have Jeff Lamb, we are at the Milpitas High School athletic department right now. Well, Jeff, thank you so much for taking time in your day to go ahead and talk to the folks and talk to us about your program and what you do here.
Yeah.
So I'll open it up. Tell me a little bit about your background and what brought your family to Milpitas?
Well, I grew up in Watsonville, over the hill, and went to Watsonville High School. And from there, I went to San Jose State. And when I went to San Jose State, I got my teaching credential back. I graduated in '77. And back at that time, there were no teaching jobs. I mean, that's, the education has gone through some tough times now. People forget what it was like right after Prop 13 was passed.
That's right.
And they were laying teachers off back at that time with 16 years experience. So newbies like myself had no chance really to get a full-time job. But I put in to substitute teach. The very first place I ever substituted was right here at Milpitas High School. And I guess I just sort of fell in the right place at the right time. And then because I started subbing and coaching here in '77, and I've been here in some capacity ever since that time, at least in the school district. And then when my wife and I got married in '88, we looked at a lot of different places for homes, a lot of different communities, based on the price of what we could pay for our home at that time and the community, a place where we would live. I mean, there were cheaper homes, but not a place that we wanted to live. We ended up moving to Milpitas in '88.
And that's what we found, that there's a lot of value here in Milpitas.
Yes, exactly.
Lots of other
And it still is that way. It still is that way compared to because of my role. I go all over the county, but I also go all over the state, and I still found Milpitas to be a really nice place to live.
Well, terrific. Well, we're glad to have you here as a part of the Milpitas community. Tell folks a little bit about your role here at Milpitas High School. You're the athletic director.
I wear several hats here. One of them is I am the athletic director. I also am a PE teacher, and then right now I only coach volleyball, but I've coached a whole lot of sports over the years. But currently I'm in my 20th year as the athletic director here at Milpitas High School. Actually, in February will be exactly 20 years, and which will be, I will get to, Jim Ferguson was our athletic director for 20 years, and so I get the time this year. So that was actually sort of a goal, and it was a nice thing to do. We currently have 17 different sports here at Milpitas High School. We have 39 different teams, and so with we have approximately 700 plus athletes, different kids who are playing sports here, and then we have 60 plus coaches, including our volunteer coaches that take place here. So really my role as athletic director is to oversee the entire athletic program, is to make sure that everything gets taken care of. It's sometimes people ask you, what do you do? And I go, I don't know, but it sure seems to take up a lot of time. It seems to take up a lot of time.
And you've been doing it for a long time.
Right.
So you must be doing something right.
There's you're trying to make the athletic program go, coming from just officials and transportation, scheduling, whatever it needs to happen. The athletic director's job is just sort of to make sure that it gets done.
Yeah,
sometimes it's easier
your
than others.
volleyball coaching, is that girls or boys?
We do not have boys volleyball here at Milpitas High School, so it's only girls. And I've been coaching volleyball now 28 years as the varsity coach.
And I understand the team has done well.
We've done okay. In past years, we had much stronger. Our demographics, as you know, in Milpitas has changed over the years, and some of it has gotten a little smaller as far as where volleyball bodes well to being tall and this type of stuff. But we have, for the demographics we have done well over the years.
Excellent.
We have done well over the years, and it's it's like I've been doing it for 34 years now.
Oh, good. Well, I've sat in the gym on occasion when you've had your parents' meetings with the athletes' parents.
Lucky you.
Yeah. Maybe you can share with folks, kind of what is your goal for the athletic department? What's the sort of tone that you try to have, and what is it you're trying to accomplish with your student athletes?
Well, first off, it was sort of interesting. We were just having a I was having a conversation conversation with one of my coaches today, and they were playing at another school, and they were just sort of commenting as like this how atrocious the sportsmanship was at the other school. So one of the things we're having those parent meetings is actually trying to make this a place where people want to come to. They want to come to our games, have a good experience, and not get into all the negativity.
Oh, learn some life skills.
Exactly. And so there's so much, especially in professional sports where you're paying a lot of money, it feels really easy to go out there and boo and swear and yell at officials, and where that is not really acceptable at the high school level. I mean, this is a different environment. This is an educational environment, and hopefully, that's what we're saying, learning life skills, learning to become, one of the things that we say for our coaches, if we want you to make better athletes, but your biggest job is to make better people. And so if we have better people coming out of here and better athletes, then I think we're doing it.
Okay, let's roll back the clock. 20 years. So you started here 20 years ago. So what would you say over the long haul has been your major accomplishments here?
Here at Milpitas High School?
Yes.
Well, obviously, I don't know if I can attribute it to myself, but if you looked at our facilities and that type of stuff 20 years ago, they were... as my pet line is, we went from the outhouse to the penthouse, and we had atrocious facilities. We couldn't even play most of our contests here. All of our outdoor contests were played on cities fields, whether it was at Hall Park, over at the Milpitas Sports Complex, or whatever.
So everything's on site here.
Almost everything is on site now, which was a huge improvement. And it's because of that we saw a tremendous increase also in our participants. You don't have to go someplace to practice. You don't have to go someplace else. Okay. And so that, I think, just that alone is an accomplishment. We've had. I think we've been able to keep going as the years have gone on.
Sounds like you've grown the number of your programs, too.
Well, we haven't necessarily. We've added a couple of teams where all freshman teams were cut out back in the 1980s. So there used to be freshman teams for all the sports. All those were cut out. We have a couple of sports that have that now. However, that would be the biggest thing that we want to do, is to start having more athletic teams here in other sports. We need to add some sports. And so that's what we would really like to see.
And maybe get a new table.
And maybe in a new table, well.
That's okay.
But you know what?
There wants to donate.
But you might. I have to say this. My friends who are athletic directors who come from other places, even though this looks like a storeroom, and they go, "Oh my God, this is all yours. You get to have this." So actually, as much of it is still much better than.
It is homey, and I've had teenagers at home, and that's about what their rooms look like.
Yes,
it is very
exactly.
homey.
Yes, and it's it gets cleaned up, and about a week later, it looks back this way again.
Well, what would you say are some of the challenges that you face here with the athletic department and the programs for kids?
Well, I think the biggest challenge is, as an education as a whole, is money. That's money is the biggest thing. I think we're doing a fantastic job with I don't want to say the smallest amount possible, because we do some things to create some more revenue, but money is always our biggest challenge in trying to.
You've actually had some fundraisers, haven't you, for your program?
Well, we've done several fundraisers. We have we have a golf tournament that we've started about 5 years ago, which is probably our Boosters Club biggest fundraiser. Our booster clubs are, it's a small core of people, but they've done a fantastic job of coming out, working our snack bars, doing this type of stuff, and then then we have to look to parents for donations. However, when there's a downturn in the economy, there's also a downturn in donations. So it's sort of like we have less money, and then when you ask for money, there's less money to be given. So that's always our biggest challenge, is trying to stay where we're at and not fall backwards. Is the part, and that's one of the reasons why we have not added more.
I have a question for you. I am a parent of, my daughters were very athletic, not at the high school here, but I was a parent of athletic students. What would you, what do you teach the parents? What do you tell them they need to avoid, not avoid?
Well, great question. As we do in our parent meetings, it's really important that the parents support their children in athletics, and also let go at the same time, especially when they get to high school. At high school, this is not, this is no longer the place to come and sit and watch your kids practice every day. Let them go out into that environment. Let them start to break away, but to be supportive of that, and ask them. We always laugh, and ask them questions, but open-ended questions, because most teenagers, if they can answer in one syllable, will answer in one syllable. So there really is something, for them, to talk about. One of the things that I think parents are really hard to do, and it's even hard for myself to do it because this is what I do, is to not be your child's coach if you're not their coach. Now, I was fortunate to have my daughter play on my volleyball team for 3 years, and we did a great job of leaving the coaching here and being dad at home. But it's really hard for a lot of kids because their parents want to be involved. They've grown
Or
up and
parents that have been athletes.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
And not only that, they may have been their child's coach for umpteen amount of years, and now they still want to coach them. It can become really stressful for kids a lot of times, and that sometimes takes away the fun of it. You already have coaches here who are going to let them know what they're doing right, and especially what they're not doing right, and then to hear it at home sometime is really difficult.
Well, maybe talk a little bit about expectations as well. You know, a lot of times folks have expectations that the kids might be, you know, a scholarship athlete or something along those lines. You know, how do you help set expectations for your student athletes, and what's the appropriate role for parents in that regard?
Well, you know, we'll ask that question. You know, how many of you are here if you would like your son or daughter to get a college scholarship for athletics? And you know, a lot of people won't raise their hand, but we do know that there's a lot of expectation. What we do have to let them know is like 1% of your high school athletes receive a college scholarship. 1%. And of those, that 1%, 10% have full rides. The others are partial scholarships in this. So our athletic program is not here to get them a college scholarship. We do, in fact, I think an unfortunate part with the growth of club sports and all the money that they have to spend to be in club sports, but because of the nature of how those are developed, college coaches tend to go to the club teams much more now than the high school teams, with the exception of football. With football being, because there is no club football, football is still a source of where kids can get scholarships here. And that's probably where most of our kids come from. We have had kids get other scholarships who play other sports, but usually they were first recognized not at the high school. If you were a volleyball coach, let's say, and you can go to the volleyball festival in the summer where there's 10,000 kids, you're not going to go from gym to gym, you know, to try and just to see if you can find someone.
That's a good point. So football is primary. What influence then does Milpitas High School have in the program in terms of football with the CCS?
Well, you know, we have been very fortunate. Coach Kelly King has been our football coach for over 20 years now. I can honestly say that I do not have a coach that works harder or puts in more time with him. Sometimes probably too much time. Kelly, if you're watching this, take some time off. However, you know, he puts in a lot of time, and it reflects in our program. And we actually, I know this for a fact, people who don't want to go to a private school will move to Milpitas so they can play on our football teams here.
Yes.
And so we have a very successful program. We're in the De Anza division of our league, which is the top tier of the SCVL, the Santa Clara Valley Athletic League, and we're usually in the top 4. And so that means, and so that puts us in there right with Palo Alto and Los Gatos, and we beat both of those teams this year, and Wilcox. We're usually the top 4 teams. Thus, we go on, and all of those teams are always going on to the section playoffs, the CCS playoffs. In fact, on this coming Saturday, we'll be in the CCS championship game for Division 1. And we've won it twice. Hopefully this will be the 3rd time. But our football program has done that. And because of that exposure and because of the job that Kelly does, is that a number of our football players do get scholarships out of here because they just come back here and they go, oh, Kelly, who do you have? Who do you have? And so from that standpoint, having a program that is like that, we're not having to work that hard to get the kids scholarships because they know to come here and that they're well coached and that they're going to have the fundamentals to go on, which I can say is probably happens in most all of our sports here. We have very good coaches here. Mm-hmm. We may not always have that same type of success, but our kids are very fundamentally sound and know how to go on and play at the next level.
Good. So the opportunities are there for kids, but in terms of setting the expectation, like you said, 1%.
It's 1%,
yeah.
and it's like, and if you're playing high school athletics as opposed to youth sports, you're practicing every day. It's 2 to 3 hours every day. And many times it's 6 days a week if you're in sports where you have games on Saturday. So these kids are putting in a lot of time.
I'd like to make an assumption here. Don't they have to have a certain GPA also to play?
Well, we have to have all athletes have to have a minimum GPA of 2.0, and we don't think that's very high, but 2.0. But actually, all schools, the athletes overall GPA is higher than the school's overall GPA, just because of the fact that they're playing sports. And we do have a lot of kids who, if it were not for athletics, would not come to school. They wouldn't come to school. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just saying, but it's a reality. We have some kids who come to school, and they come to school for the fact that they want to play. And why do they want to play athletics? The number one reason is to have fun. I mean, everybody wants to have fun. Hard work and being successful is fun, even though every step of the way is not fun. And so
I can tell you really enjoy what you do. As you smile, you laugh.
yeah, well, I hope so. I mean, how do I want to say? I've been this is my 36th year in education, and if I didn't enjoy what I was doing, then I shouldn't be here. I mean, I really shouldn't be here, because you know what? Because we deal with kids, and we deal with the next generations. And I've dealt with a lot of generations now. But these are the kids that go on and become. Most of them are not in education. These are the kids that go on into our society and are the ones that hopefully we're helping make things better.
You want to ask final question?
What do you think it is about Milpitas High School athletics in particular that may differentiate it from other opportunities or other schools that kids are involved in?
Well, other than, you won't find many schools that have athletic directors who have been around for 20 years. That's one.
Yeah.
And that consistency helps with a lot of things. It really does help with a lot of, whether, even if it's good, bad, or indifferent, the consistency helps. But, as we've known this, Milpitas has always been ethnically diverse. Always has been that. I mean, ever since day one, it has been. When my volleyball teams from 20 years ago, we would walk into a gym and we would have kids of multi-nationalities, and you'd look around the gym and there's nobody else in there who wasn't white.
Yeah, right.
So that really, I think that is really one of the big advantages here, that we have such a diverse population, and we have a diverse population playing on our teams. And it really allows kids to get to know other kids in a way that you may not just in going to school in general. In your classes, you may see somebody, talk to them, but here now you have to work together and this type of stuff. And I really think our athletic program here exemplifies what the world is going to be like one day. I mean, not that we're changing it, but this is what it's going to be like. We're going to have people from all over the place.
And they need to get along.
And they need to get along. And they need to know how to, and you know what? And get along, and not necessarily, you don't have to like somebody to get along. You just need to be able to get along and learn how to work together and go for a common goal. And I think that is one of the biggest things that athletics teaches, is you take a group of people, you're working for a common goal. You hope to get everybody pulling in the same direction. And you learn, if you don't all pull in the same direction, then it doesn't work too well.
So let's close with that thought. Goals, future aspirations. Crystal ball. What does the future look like here?
Well, we're in the process of in the development plans of putting in a new swimming pool, and that will take place within the next year or two. What that will do? One of the first things
was that with that bond measure that got passed, the facilities?
Yes. That's part of it. And we haven't had water polo here since late '70s. I coached water polo way back in the late.
My two older brothers played water polo for.
But we haven't had water polo, so that will be the first thing, is to make sure that we get a water polo teams going on here, because we are the second largest school in the CCS. Independence is the only school that is larger than us. Yet we still don't have as many athletic teams as a lot of these other schools, offer as many sports. So we're really going to need to start offering more sports. Okay. That comes down to money, but crystal ball, everything we need to add more sports here. We are eventually going to need another gymnasium here at Milpitas High School. We have over 3,000 kids. We have one gym. We need to really get another. And then with that, we could add boys volleyball. We can add some of these other sports in there.
Practicing at the same time.
Yes, exactly. And that type of thing. And also, with that, it opens up a facility for other people to use. I mean, everybody wants to use our facilities. We could use our facilities 24/7, and it doesn't work, but we could do that. So those are the things I would.
Sounds like
to
there's
see.
some hope on the horizon. Then
you know what? There's always hope on the horizon. There's always hope on the horizon. Okay.
Well, good. Well, Jeff, congratulations on the 20-year anniversary coming up here.
Oh, thanks.
Shortly.
Her condolences. Yeah. Yes, one of the two.
You've done just an outstanding job providing leadership for the athletic program here at Milpitas High. There's been a lot of success. The kids get good training. Great leadership here, and on behalf of the community, I want to thank you for all that you for the kids and for the families to support our community.
Well, you're welcome, but Milpitas is a great place to live. So.
And
it makes it
Jeff,
easy.
we have a Valley Homes on TV. This is a thank you gift for being our guest. That's a Polo Valley Homes on TV T-shirt for you
All right,
to
wonderful.
wear
Thank
when
you.
you're out there on the practice
Okay,
field.
thank you.
Somewhere around or
Thank
golfing.
you. We'll just
For
hold
your
this up so
tournament.
everybody
There
can
you
see.
go. Yeah, there. I hope
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
Yay.
All right.
Again, thanks for being our
Well, thank
guest.
you.
Thank you so much
Appreciate
for
you
your
spending
time.
time with us.
Thank you.
good to see
Thank
you
you for
again.
asking me to do this. I appreciate it.
Through the years, trends and styles may come and go, but the important things remain the same. Generation after generation, consistently there, creating moments and memories to last a lifetime. Like a true friend, the national parks have always been there for you, and now you can be there for them. Support the National Park Foundation and help protect America's treasured places.
We all share a common journey. We wanted to serve our country and protect the things we love. We were ready to face any mission and help those in need. But for some of us, coming home was more of a challenge than we expected. In the service, we had each other's backs. But as veterans, it can sometimes feel like we're all alone.
At the Veterans Crisis Line, we understand what you're going through, and we can help. It's your call.
Hello, everyone. You're watching Valley Homes on TV. I'm Debbie Giordano, along with Todd Flesner. We're here to do our wrap-up, which we're going to give you some statistics for the month of November.
Right, we like to take a look at how the market's doing here in Milpitas.
Right, and it's really been an exciting market. Well, first of all, the San Jose Mercury just a few weeks ago reported in housing market, housing continues recovery, and that certainly is the case, at least right here in Milpitas. So let me give you some numbers that are, I think, rather revealing. You're going to like to hear these numbers because I know you're a Milpitas property owner. September 2011, we had, for an average home price, single family, $507,000, and a median price of $440,000. And last month in October, the average price jumped to $621,000, and the median price jumped to $631,000.
That's a big increase.
Huge increase. And the condo and townhouse market, in September of 2011, it was $324,000 for an average price and $358,000 for a median price, and that jumped now to, in October, an average price of $339,000 and a median price of $320,000. So not quite as dramatic increase as a single family, but certainly noteworthy to
Right.
talk about that.
Well, I know our interest rates are a little bit lower than they were a year ago, so that helps to make some adjustment for affordability.
Is it true? Is it 3.375, I want to say?
That's about where things are. And they move a little bit on a daily basis, but we've been in the low threes for 30-year conforming fixed rate loans.
Well, and what's been happening, Todd, I had an open house just 2 weeks ago, and the flood of buyers that are coming through, it's tremendous, and there's very little inventory. So it has created a seller's market.
Well, and anecdotally, I'm sure that you're seeing the same thing I am with buyers, where they're really having to compete in a multiple offer situation.
Right.
And so that's helped to bring those home prices up that we're seeing now in the statistics.
Yeah, and I think we'll continue to see that. Maybe a little bit more, it might be some leveling off as the inventory increases in springtime of next year, but we'll take a look at that and have folks make sure they tune in and get those numbers up to date. So the question of the day, everybody's throwing out the word fiscal cliff. Now that the elections are over, President Obama's back in. And what is this fiscal cliff all?
Well, the
cliff all
fiscal
about?
cliff actually is something where they kicked the can down the road from about 6 months ago.
Okay.
There were these debt ceiling negotiations between the Republicans and Democrats. And in essence, we'd run up the bill on our credit card. We continued to borrow money, and we had hit the limit. And so it took an act of Congress to raise that limit, and they moved that here now to the end of the year where we, again, are up against that limit. Part of that negotiation, they said if you can't come up with a solution, there are going to be automatic cuts in spending that are pretty significant, along with significant tax increases. And so, both sides see things in that they like, but a lot of things that they don't like as well. And so, to some extent, it's political theater. And both sides are going to look to see what they can do to score political points and to be able to appease their base to the extent that they can. We always seem to get these things resolved. We seem to always be able to
agree.
kind of put that off down the road. And so I expect that will probably be another outcome that we have here.
So we're not taping next month in December. We're taking the holidays.
So we'll see how good my prediction is.
Let's see how Todd's fiscal cliff prediction is, if we're going off the cliff or if we're going to stay on top of it.
Right.
Ellerin is already cluing us in. We had a short time to just be able to fill in the gap here
That's
with some
correct.
numbers. If folks need to contact you, Todd?
Phone is the best way, 408-921-0669. And for you?
My cell, 408-858-5771. And Todd and I'd be happy to field any questions you have that we can do here on the show for you. So with that said, happy holidays to you and your family.
Thank you, and the same to you and to folks who tune in to
We'll be
watch us.
seeing you in 2013. Thank you.